Hello, and today, in our main update today, I haven't got much to talk about. Paddingtons are probably about another week or so away, and there isn't much else to tell you about really, apart from the fact that the Paddington Circulated has come out, which is probably the first time we've had it so far where the Circulated has come out before we've got hold of the packaged. But you know, you can't win them all, can you? For those of you that have been following the release of the 400 coins that we're putting into circulation, another 60, 70 of those have gone out today to the volunteers, various parts of the country, to put them out, and we're making updates and things about that on the actual YouTube post that says 40 volunteers required. So I realise that when we're putting up posts and various posts, there's more and more people coming forward saying, yeah, I want to do it, I want to do it. The thing is, if you want to do it, you really want to do it, and you really want to take part, and you're really, really up for this, right, then please find that video, which is the one that says 40 volunteers required. Find that video, make sure you've left a comment in that video, and make sure you've emailed John, TGBCH@outlook.com. Really, really important. Another update for general update for everybody is that I've uploaded quite a few videos over the last week regarding the release of 400 Peter Rabbits into circulation. A lot of you are following this now, and it is gaining a lot of momentum. Last week I did a video for an hour, bloody longest video I've ever done, and I can't believe over 2,000 people have watched it in a week. Incredible. So massive thanks to all the new subscribers and people out there that are paying an interest in this. So that being said, it leaves me very little to talk about this week. So I thought what I would do this week is I would take the opportunity, because there's a lot of people out there that talk about the £2 and various things on the £2. So what this one is all about, and I'm not really covering anything else unless I go and digress off like I normally bloody do. But I'm not covering anything else apart from £2. So if you're not interested in £2 and the values and that kind of thing and what to look out for, then or what's rare, what's not, then don't bother watching the video. You know, save yourself some time, because I don't want to send you to sleep unnecessarily. So the first thing I'm going to talk about on the videos is writing correct or writing upside down. What's rarer? Are any rarer? Now, 99% of people out there, 90% of people out there will say, oh, this is such an argument. When I first started listing on eBay, writing upside down and writing correct, I got all sorts of abuse from people that called me a crook, telling me that there's nothing rare about them and all the rest of it. And I never said there was. I never, ever said there was anything rare about them. Although there is an anomaly to that. I'll come to that. So the thing about the writing correct and upside down is quite simple. You've got two pieces of metal. You've got a silver bit in the middle and you've got a gold bit round the end, right? And what happens is the machine that the Mint uses, they grab it and they bang the two together. Simple as that, right? How it's done doesn't matter really. You don't need to know, I don't need to know. All we need to know is a machine picks up two pieces of metal and goes wallop, and it bangs them together. The machine doesn't discriminate between which way up the writing is. And when the coins are in, whether, I don't know what they're called, planchets or the outer ring, but whenever they're in the box, they're just put in the box, they're bunged in the box, probably by another machine. So there is no human intervention or machine intervention whatsoever to determine whether a coin is made with the writing upside down or the writing the correct way round. Okay? Nothing whatsoever. Take that as absolute gospel from someone that's been doing it for 7 years. This is where this video is going to come into mind. I know that some of what I'm going to say is going to disagree with some of the comments made by other, we're not called YouTubers apparently. I just found out the other day we're called coin tubers. Didn't know that, been doing this a couple of years. See, there's so much I don't know. But it's going to conflict with a lot of what some coin tubers say. Now, let me just cover that quickly. What you get from me from a retailer that sells coins at the retail value. Sometimes a bit less, whatever, you know, if I do deals and have offers and whatever. But what I've always done is I've set myself out to retail coins. That's how my business developed. And so the prices that I give in my guides, they're the top retail prices. So for example, say that a Northern Ireland £2 coin is worth about 50 quid now, and I have other people argue with that and go, no, it's not, it's worth 30, no, it's not, it's worth this. It's worth 50 quid at its retail price. Now, a retail price to me means that someone's running a business. Therefore, they've got expenses, VAT, tax, wages, and all the stuff that goes with that business. Someone else coming along who's maybe doing it as a hobby, or gets like a few hundred quid's worth of change every now and again and goes through it, or whatever, or someone that does it and looks for it in their change and then goes, oh, I found this, I'll sell it for 30 quid. That's up to them. Someone wants to sell it cheaper, it's entirely up to them. But there is what I would class as a general rule of thumb retail price, and that is the prices that I give. So you've got to really, really, really bear that in mind. For example, you take a coin that isn't worth very much, but it's being sold for more than its face value. Of course it will, because no one in their right mind is going to sell something for less than face value, or for face value and pay postage and all the rest of it, and the packing, and run a business and all that kind of stuff. So you have to bear all that in mind, you know. And by that, I'll give you a perfect example. So a perfect example to me would be something along the lines of the first shoulders one that they made, right? So the first shoulders one that they made, 1997, that's a perfect example. I still sell that for 4 quid, right? Between 4 and 5 quid, depending on condition. Now, it is as common as muck, as they say. It's as common as anything. But there are people out there that still, no matter how common it is to find it in their change, haven't got the time to go looking at change, can't be bothered, whatever. And there are also people worldwide, and this gets forgotten about a lot. You know, there's 70 million people in this country that can walk into a bank and get some change, or walk into a corner shop and get some change. There's another 6 billion, 7 billion out there, 4 or 5 billion of which are on the internet. These people can't walk into a local shop and get change. So even the most common one is still worth 4 or 5 quid. Depends on what you class as worth, if you see what I mean. Someone else will look at that and go, it's not worth anything. It's not worth face value. Chuck it back. Well, it isn't to them, but maybe they're not got a shop selling to a worldwide audience. But to a person, for example, like me, been doing it for 7 years, selling to a worldwide audience and sending £2 and 50p coins and pound coins and, well, every denomination really, all over the world, in virtually every country you can think of, I've got customers. That happens because they can't get hold of the coin. Do you see what I mean? So the value of... What's easier to say is that every single coin that comes through your hand, no matter how rare, no matter how common, every single coin, every single year of every single coin, penny, 2p, 5p, 10p, 20p, 50p, £1, £2, every single year of every single coin is worth more than its face value. That is something I can absolutely guarantee you, because I've done it for 7 years and I've sold every single year of every single coin at some stage or another, and lots of them. So every coin is worth money. Are you gonna be able to take the change that you've got in your hand now, list it and sell it all by next week? No, of course not. But if you took that change jar that you've got and you listed every single coin, not a variation listing because it's not worth doing otherwise, listed it, every single coin that you've got in there, you will start selling them as the days and weeks go on. This is absolutely factual. And people will come along and buy 1971 penny when you can just find it everywhere. You know, that happens. So to recap on that, the value of a coin, any coin, is not necessarily based on its rarity. It's based on what you're doing with it. If you take a 1971 penny and take it to a car boot sale, you'll probably never sell it. But if you list a 1971 penny on eBay for £1, at some point someone's going to come along and buy it. That's supply and demand and buying and selling. And that applies to any coin. So every single coin has a value to somebody, somewhere in the world, not just this country. Every single coin, even the ones that are as common as muck. So anyway, getting back to upside down and right and correct. Might be interesting to know at this point, there are two coins that don't have any writing around the edge. One of them is the 2004 locomotive, the locomotion one, and Roger Trevivick, and the other one is the one of the underground ones. I always forget. One of them has, you've got the underground sign, the underground train. One of them's got writing around the edge, the other one hasn't. And I think that was a bit of a silly mistake, in my own humble opinion, only because it's a good way of being able to recognise a fake. But now you can't recognise a fake locomotive that way, and you can't recognise a fake which one of the trains it is that way. Like, for example, a lot of the fake HMS Belfast Navy coin, a lot of the fake ones don't have the writing around the edge, whereas the real ones do. So anyway, so getting back to this writing around the edge business. So because of the fact that the machine just picks up two bits of metal and goes wallop and chucks it wherever it's, and it goes on to the next bit, bump, 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 like that. It doesn't care, it doesn't know, it doesn't understand, and therefore there is absolutely no rhyme or reason to it. It does about 50%. That is what people talk about, and it's actually quite true. We've searched through more than 1 million £2 coins, and this is where I get the gall that I have, that some people say, you've got the gall to say this and that, but that's where I get the gall from, because I've been doing it 7 years, and I've been selling them 7 years, and I know which ones are easy to find, which ones are hard to find, and so on. So the right and correct, upside down, no difference whatsoever, except this is where you start causing a little bit of controversy, see. Except we already know that, for example, the Northern Ireland has 400 and whatever thousand. Again, can't remember off my head, so I'm going to have to look at my list because it's quicker, but than 485,000, right? 500, 485,500 Northern Ireland £2 coins. So, if, which is not if, because it's true, the machine picks up, you know how my mind works logically, right? The machine picks up these inners and outers at random, bangs them together, boom, and does about 50% of them. That means that somewhere in the region of 242,750 are going to be right and correct, and the same amount, roughly, are going to be right and upside down. Now, in this case, and in a case like this, it does then become harder to find the one that you want. Now, a lot of people don't care whether the writing's upside down or right and correct. My own personal collection, I have a collection. This is my collection, and I have a collection of all of them right and correct, and all of them upside down. Well, I haven't got all of them because there's some I haven't even got. I can't put a Northern Ireland in my collection, for example, when I have a few customers one. So there are coins that I haven't got, you know, in my collection. But what I have got is a full set of each, upside down, right and correct. Why? Well, I don't know. Why not? Because they're different. And that's why a lot of people do it, because they're different. Or someone will collect the entire set. Once they've collected the entire set, they'll think, well, I've got the set now, what else am I going to do? So when you collect anything, and you've collected all of one thing, you then look for the next bit, or something else, or a different way of collecting. And an awful lot of people tend to go down the road of going, okay, now I'm going to split my collection in half, all the right and corrects and all the right and upside downs, and then I'm going to fill the gaps on each one. And that way I can carry on collecting, you know, and they're still looking at £2 and they've still got an interest in it. So there's all sorts of reasons that people might do it, but it's not worth any extra money. You don't charge more for a King James Bible upside down than you do a King James Bible right and correct. And I probably wouldn't charge more for a Northern Ireland upside down or right and correct. However, there is a good argument to be had that they're only 200 and odd thousand of each. So you could, you know, that in a way could increase the price. But other than that, they are all the same. Got it? So, no different there. Now, as somebody that that buys and sells coins for a living, or finds and sells coins for a living, is pretty much what we've done for 7 years, finding and selling coins non-stop. I sort of ended up developing my own rules. That sounded a bit wrong. My own way of doing things. Because remember, when I started with the penny 7 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing, none whatsoever. I didn't understand coins, never collected coins, never had any interest in coins. It was just a way for me to earn some money, and it just went on from there. So I developed as we went along, searching through more and more and more and more coins. I realised very quickly that as you're searching through coins, even though you can sell that £2 coin for a fiver, because as I said earlier, every single coin has a value, which it does, you can't keep every single commemorative that you find. Because if you keep every single commemorative that you find, you're now putting, depending on how often you do this, right, you're putting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds, turning into thousands of pounds just on the shelf, parked there, as and when, ready, waiting for somebody to come along and want that coin, or 50 of that coin, or whatever. So, at the same time, there are coins that, even though you can sell them for more than their face value, you don't keep them. And the reason you don't keep them is because they're easy to find. So if you're getting low on stock of something like a Charles Darwin, for example, or maybe a better one would be Charles Dickens. So if you're getting low on stock on Charles Dickens, there's 8,190,000 of those in circulation. So if you're getting low on stock on Charles Dickens, you don't have to worry about it too much, because you know that if you go and get a £250 bag of £2 coins, you almost know that you're going to find a Charles Dickens. So you can go and get one anytime you want. So you can use the bank as your wholesale room, right? As your stock room. That's what I've done. I use the bank. I advertise I've got 100 for sale. I might only have 2 on the shelf, but I know that if somebody come along and bought 20 Charles Dickens and I only had 2 on the shelf, for example, this is how it was when I was starting, it didn't matter, because I'd already worked out that I can, if I just go and turn over a couple of bags, I can find the Charles Dickens I want. And whilst I'm turning over those bags, I'll find some other coins that I want. So I worked out very quickly that it's in my interest to use the bank as my stock room. That's where my coins are. No one knows they're mine, not even the bank at the moment, but I know that they're there. So if somebody wants them, I'll just go and get them, right? But I did work a couple of little formulas, and the formulas that I worked are quite simple ones. So if it's a £2 coin and it's got less than a 2 million mintage, I absolutely will not let that £2 coin go. No matter how many I've got in stock, no matter how many of them I've found, if that coin has less than a 2 million mintage, I absolutely will not let it go. I'll sell the jumper off my back before I will sell one of those coins, or not sell, before I will chuck one of those coins back to the bank to get £2 for it, you know, skin. I'd rather sell this than get rid of one of those coins. If it's got less than 2 million, do not let it go. That's my rule of thumb, right? If it's got between 2 million and 5 million, then my rule of thumb is I keep it and I try not to let it go. If it's less than 2 million, it will never leave my possession unless I sell it. If it's above 2 million and it's below 5 million, then mentally I keep it, but I know it's disposable, because if I start getting too much and it becomes too much money, then I can thin it out a bit and knock some back and chuck some back to the bank for £2, or I can reduce the price if the price is reducible. It may not be, but between 2 million and 5 million, I keep every single one that I can. I try to keep every single one that I can. So sometimes when I'm watching other coin tubers, which I've started to try and watch a couple now, And I see them looking at the coins and they're going, oh, I'm throwing that one back to the bank. That's not worth more than face value. And I go, ooh. And they go, oh, I'm throwing that one back to the bank. That's not worth more. And I'm going, ooh, actually, it is. You know, just don't let that one go unless you have to. So between 2 million and 5 million, I only let it go if I have to. You know, if it's getting too much, and you'll know what I mean. If you start doing that, you'll start seeing that. You'll go, oh yeah, I see what he means now. You know, like for example, a really good example is Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin is an excellent example. 3,903,000. So it falls right in the middle of what I'm saying. Now Charles Darwin is a good coin. It's a good sellable coin at the right price, and it will sell all over the world, especially America, at the right price. Okay, but it's not immensely difficult to find. It's not easy to find, but it's not difficult to find. It's sort of in the middle range there. So it's one of those that, although they've made quite a few of them, I wouldn't let Charles Darwin go at all, unless I got too many of them and I needed to thin out a bit, and then I go, okay, we can throw a few of them in because we've got loads. See what I mean? But if it's got 2 million or less, I'd sell the shirt off my back before I put one of them back into the bank. That's how I've looked at it for as long as I've done it. Hope that sort of helps in that. So let's start off with the shoulders. It says on the standing on the shoulders of giants, and it's got that sort of picture. Should have had one ready, shouldn't I? Like a div. It's got that sort of picture on it. It's never classed as a really good picture. You see, it's just circly things. Anyway, standing on the shoulders of giants, that's called. So there's 19 of them from 1997 to 2015, and you just get one of each, just to have as a collection. And again, you can have, like, I've got one with the set with the writing upside down and one set with the writing the correct way up. But again, there's absolutely no difference in rarity and that kind of thing. None of them really are worth anything. They come into the minimum price bracket, so they're what ordinary, a lot of people would just throw back to the bank because they don't sell them. But if you're selling to a worldwide audience, these are worth a £5 each. If you're any of them, any shoulders is worth a £5 each. Crazy, yeah, but it's worth a £5 each to somebody abroad, plus postage on top, you know. But then you've got to be asked to be able to, you know, take that item, wrap it, pack it, go down the post office, and do all those bits and pieces along with it. It's, you know, you don't just make money like that. You have to work for your money in some way or other. So yes, they're worth a £5 each, but they're only worth it to somebody that wants it. I've sold them abroad. I've sold them in this country, because some people can't be bothered to just keep looking. They'd rather just buy a decent one off the internet. So they all have a minimum thing of a £5. And of course, depending on the condition, because the older it is, the better the condition, you might be able to stretch a little bit extra money out of that. The two dates that are sort of worth putting away and looking for are the 2002 and 2007. And that's only because they made less of them, you know. Nothing major. I'll just get the figure. I don't remember these off by heart. I wrote a £2 guide ages ago and a couple of years ago, and I've not updated it yet. Just not got round to it yet. But anyway, it prices all the coins, and you know, it's not a million miles away from what it is there. So 2007, technology shoulders, it's also called technology, 10,270,000, see, quite a lot. And the 2002 was somewhere in the region of about the same, 13,024,000. So they are the two lowest shoulders, which is quite a high mintage, but there's an awful lot of shoulders out there. So they're not easy to find, but they're not mega difficult to find. You know, it's not like trying to find a Commonwealth Games. They're not that difficult, but they are two coins that, if, for example, pardon me, how can I put this? If, for example, you're not short of money, you're not short of a few bob, then every time you find a 2002 or a 2007, put it away. Can't do you any harm, because it will never, ever in a million years be worth less than that £2. So you're not spending it on something that might go up and down in value. you're taking that coin that cannot go down in value. It can go up, but it cannot go down. So 2002, 2007, if you find any of those and you're not short of money, therefore you don't need it, it's not going to hurt your pocket, as it were, not going to interfere with shopping and so on, then take those coins and put them away. Because time will come where they will be worth a little bit more, you know. But at the moment, not a great deal, even though they are the two harder to get ones. Still not a great deal, still round about the same money, maybe an extra £1, something like that. But as time goes on, they will. So if you can afford it, because every time you take one, do it, it's £2. You do it with 5 coins, it's a tenner, you know, 50 coins, 100 quid. It's not like putting away pennies. But if you can do it, you will not lose money. That's the bit that no one can argue with. Guaranteed, you can't lose money. So I would do that on those coins, even though most people throw them back and don't pay them any notice whatsoever. If you can afford to, put them aside. There's no point just throwing them back when you can afford to put them aside. Some of my videos, well, a lot of them are a bit too long. And this one's going to be mega long because there's an awful lot to cover. And I just find it easier to stick it all in one video. But I do get the sense, like a lot of other people, they'll upload maybe 10 videos of 2 minutes each or something like that, covering individual little bits of what you're covering. But I'm not very good at this YouTube lark, as you've worked out by now. Someone was saying to me the other day, he says, he made me laugh. He said, I don't get you in. He said, you break all the rules. He said, on YouTube, he said, you break all the rules about how to make a good video. There's nothing flashy. There's no little bits coming in and this and that and whatever's. And he said, you cut yourself off half the time and you still got hundreds of people watching it. I said, yeah, I know. They probably use it as a sleeping thing. One of my customers does. He watches my videos and he puts them on when he goes to bed. He never gets to the end. He's always fell asleep by the time he gets to the end. Anyway, I digress. So that's covered the shoulders, right? No more to say about the shoulders, really. I'm not going to cover each individual year. It's pointless. None of them are worth anything apart from those 2 years that are worth an extra £1. But at the same time, every single one of them's worth a minimum £5. So the other two, £6, depending on what you're doing with them and where you're selling them. Back in a moment. Right then. So we're back. So what I'll do is I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna start off with the highest and going down to the lowest. That's the easiest way for me to do it, I think. And I'll hold this up to the camera so that you can come back to this, and then instead of listening to me waffle on all over again, you can just pause and maybe write down some of these values. All right, that might help you, because I don't know how good this is going to be. So let's see if we can do it that way. And it looks like you might be able to read that. Okay. Maybe a bit closer. Oops. Okay, so this is a guide that I wrote. And then that's the other side. Just in case I missed anything, I'll go that way. Now I can't see what I'm doing, so, and then we'll go down that side. And then maybe you can stop the camera and write it down. And then you don't have to listen to me waffle on, see? Right. There's the last couple on the back. Okay, so if we start off at the top, right? So starting off at the top, Northern Ireland Commonwealth Games. Now this is the Northern Ireland Commonwealth Games. Get right in there, and you see that little round bit there, right there, and it's got the cross in it. So that's the Scotland flag. It's the same design on all 4 coins, but it's that bit there that's different on all the coins. And the England flag and the Northern Ireland flag are virtually the same, apart from something right in the middle. So they're really difficult to see. But the coin itself is the same design. So that's the one you're looking for. You're looking for that design there, and it is classed as or labelled as the rarest £2 coin in circulation with 485,000. Now the Northern Ireland I valued that a couple of years ago at 30 quid. I value that now at about 50. It's worth about 50 quid, that's its top price. Of course, you can pick it up at any price if somebody's got it up cheap enough, or they've put it in an auction and not enough people are watching that day, or whatever. But my top price on that is 50 quid. So if you put one up for 50 quid, it may take a month to sell or something like that, but it will sell. But, pardon me, again, I base my prices, retail prices. I don't base my prices on being a coin tuber or a YouTuber or a hobbyist or anything like that. I base my prices on retail prices, so I can pay the mortgage and buy my rent and earn wages and pay my staff and all that sort of thing, like any other retailer out there, you know. So that's a really important one, because it's the most valuable one. Now the next one is, I won't bother going into all the different designs because it's the flag that's different on that. You know, it's just that little circle and the flag. The rest of the design is the same. So Wales is worth about 30 quid, and there's 588,000 of those. So the next one down is the HMS Belfast Navy coin. Now that's 650,000, and the Britannia 5th portrait. So you put them both at the same number really, they're 3 and 4, or they're both number 3, because they've both got the same vintage. And I value those at 25 quid. Now that one, we've had so much controversy over that one, but again, I value that at 25 quid, based on its vintage, based on its value, and I look at a worldwide market, and I'm a retailer. Okay, so, you know, you can go and buy Belfast for less than a tenner, various places, but they certainly don't have the expenses I do, and if they want to sell it cheaper than me or other people, that's entirely up to them. You know, it's the thing about a free market. If you own it, you can sell it at whatever price you like, but that's the value I put on it. Commonwealth Games England, again I won't show you the coin because it's the same one as the Northern Ireland, 650,500. Again, it's worth 25 quid, and that's where really the price for the Britannia and the price for the Belfast came from, because the England was already priced at 25 quid. 2002 England, 650,500, it was already priced at 25 quid. That was the value that I'd put on it. Again, these are just my values, right? And the values I've been working to for the last few years. So, if 650,500 is worth 25 quid, there's only 500 difference. You have to say, well, those two coins are also worth 25 quid then. And that's why I was trying to say to everybody right from the beginning, see these in your change, save them, because you don't realise they're worth a lot more money, but you're just not seeing it now because they're so common, because they've just come out fresh. But give it a couple of years, you won't be able to find these. So England, Scotland, the 2002 Commonwealth Games Scotland. Now that comes in at 771,750, 1995 that one. I always did my prices not in fives. I always do 1995, 195, all that kind of thing. But again, that's just me and my pricing, you know. So I'll tell you what I'll try and do for the ease of this, if I can try and remember. So Commonwealth Games Scotland, call it 20 quid, right? Rio 2012, now next in the list, is the Rio Olympic Games handover. 2012, 845,000 of those minted, and that one comes in at 15 quid. 2011, oh, I ought to show that one, didn't I, really? So there we go. This is the 2012 Olympic Games handover, or Rio handover it's called, 2012 Rio. 845,000 of these made, 15 quid is what we top that up at. Next we have the 2008 Olympic Games Centenary, 910,000. So they made a few more of these, but it still comes into the £15 price bracket. And again, top retail price, but £15 price bracket. 2008 Centenary, less than $1 million. No matter how many of those I found, I would never let them go. Now the next one is the, again 2008, and it's the Beijing Olympic Games handover. That comes in at 918,000, so again that's a little bit more mintage, but it's still in the same price bracket, and that comes out also at 15 quid. I can't show you a picture of that one because embarrassingly I haven't got one. We sold a few coins lately and we oversold. Someone bought quite a load of £2 coins and we oversold on a few, and I had to take the ones out of my own collection in order to furnish the order, so I haven't got a picture of that one to show you, but you can look it up easily on Google. It's the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games handover, 15 quid. And again, another one, any of these ones I'm mentioning at the moment, if no matter how many I found, I would never ever 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 let one go. So if you're lucky enough to find a few of them, don't ever let them go. Now the next one in the list, so this is around, depending on how you view the list, this is around 7 or 8. The next one is the Mary Rose, 1,040,000, and because it goes over the million, I put this one in just under 15 quid, so I put this one in at 13 quid basically, and I do like the picture, great picture, and it falls into the category of, doesn't matter how many you might find, my advice to anybody on these coins is never ever ever let them go. Too valuable for what they're worth compared to their face value. Mary Rose 2011. I think I missed one, so we need to go back a little bit, just a couple, because the King James Bible should have come in there just before the Olympic Games centenary, but I don't remember doing it. So that's the King James Bible, and because on that one there's 975,000, that one comes in at 15 quid. It's a lovely coin, don't let any go. King James Bible 2011. So now we're going to go into the area of coins getting discarded as not worth much more than face value, etc. This one is the Magna Carta. Magna Carta 2015. 1,495,000 of these made. So we're into 1.5 million, and we're into that area of like, I try not to let them go because they're less than 2 million. So I do absolutely everything in my power not to let them go. And this is one of those coins. Some people would throw it back to the bank, I wouldn't. And I priced this at about 9 quid based on its mintage. Magna Carta. And when they first come out, you know, you couldn't open a bag and not find a load. They were all over the place. But again, now, they're not easy to find. Magna Carta, 2015. This is the one they call the roundel. So this is the 2013 underground sign. Some of us call it the underground sign, but its proper name is the roundel. Let's see if we can go a little bit closer, a bit clearer. On the ground. Right. Now this one, you know, people will look for this one and keep this one, and they'll disregard the Magna Carta. Yet funny enough, the Magna Carta is a little tiny bit rarer than this one. This one, the mintage on this one is 1,560,000. So it's what? Pardon me. An extra 100,000 ish, close to it, more than the Magna Carta, but people, you know, find this one rarer in a way. But it's not quite as rare, if you want to put it that way. Its mintage is slightly higher than the 2015 Magna Carta. So this one is 1,560,000, and again, it's priced in at 9 quid. Then the next one is the underground train. The underground train, of course, is the one that has no writing round the edge. There we go, with the train. Slightly higher mintage than the roundel. It's 1,690,000, and I priced this one at 8 quid. (2013) London Underground Train. Remember, London Underground Train along with the Trevivic 2004, the two coins that there's no writing around the edge. Now then, this is another example of what I was talking about earlier on. This is the 2013 anniversary of the Golden Guinea, and this falls slap bang into it. The mintage on it is 2,990,000 and it's priced at £8. So this really is on one of those coins that some coin tubers would just throw back in as go, it's not worth more than its face value, because of course to them it isn't. But at the same time, it's less than 3 million. And if it's less than 3 million, it gets my interest. If it's less than 2 million, I don't let go of it. So it's one of the coins that fall into that between the 2 million and the 5 million that I talked about, where I would keep every single one that I find. I wouldn't let a single one go unless I had to. If I got skint, like, you know, thinking of someone out there, if I got skint, you know, I needed to pay the gas bill, well then I might use it. But if I really could get through life without spending it, I'd keep every one I could find. Now we come on to another one that sort of falls in that category, and this is the Robbie Burns. Robert Burns, 2009, 3,253,000. So over 3 million, it's less than 5 million, and it's priced at £7. Now you look at that and you go, what, £7? I can almost hear people going, oh, rip off, da, 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 da. It's priced at £7 because it's harder to find than something with twice the mintage. And if something with twice the mintage is like £4 or £5 to sell to somebody abroad, then a coin that's fractionally harder to find, I'm going to charge a little bit more for, and have done, and it has sold all over the world. So anybody that tells you that this isn't worth anything, it actually depends on how you look at it. I'm not going to say they're wrong. What I'm saying is, it depends on how a person looks at it. But, you know, it's one of those coins that I would keep and keep unless I needed the money. And if I needed the money and couldn't get it from anywhere else, then I'd use it. You know, if I've saved up 400 of them and suddenly I need a couple of £100 and I can't get it from anywhere else, I might consider using this. Otherwise, I would just keep them because it falls in that bracket. But that's me. Now we come to a recent one, and again, this is another one that you find a lot in your change, and a lot of people will just throw back to the bank as not worth much. It's the 2014 Trinity House, part of the War Memorial thing, and there was 3,705,000 of these made. So its top value is £7. And that becomes its top value worldwide, £7. And remember, when I do mine free postage as well, so you've got to factor the postage into it. But this is a £7 coin, even though, quite rightly so, as some people point out, it's not really worth much more than its face value. And yet, on the other hand, it does become worth more than its face value to people that can't get hold of it. I made a bit of a mistake earlier on. When I said the 2002, 2007, and I'm reading off the figures and all the rest of it, Wally, in my mind, I'm thinking of the 50p. 2002, 2007 are the ones that to save for exactly the same reasons, on the 50p. Actually, the ones I should have said and mentioned were, if you can afford to keep them, etc., put them away, is the 2005 shoulders technology and the 2012. 2005 is 3,837,250, and the technology shoulders was 3,900,000 of those, which I sort of both put in the £7 bracket, along with the Trinity House, because it's around about the same kind of vintage. And again, people, you know, whilst you and I and your next door neighbour can go out and get a bag of £250 worth or £500 worth of £2 coins, search through them and find a 2005 and 2012, it's not that easy, and people all over the world, they can't do that. So that's why the value comes in. So on the one hand it's worthless, but on the other hand it actually does have a value, and its value around about now is about £7, right? And they would pay the postage on top of that because it can. And it's also valued £7 to people that can't be bothered and can't be asked to look for it and so on. So apologies, I won't edit because I don't know how to do all of that. As you know, I'm a complete and utter philistine. When I make a mistake, it stays in. So that bit I mentioned about the other two technologies, which I think I mentioned 2002 and 2007, forget what I said there, that applies to the 2005 and the 2012. Right? Don't let them go unless you really, really have to. Look for them in your change, 2005, 2012. You can't lose money on them. That's the beauty of it. That's the one thing I sort of say to people over and over, like a broken record, you know. You can't lose money. It's not like you can go and buy something for £2 and you could lose money. You buy a £2 coin for £2. You put a £2 coin on the side in your drawer. You cannot lose money on that. It'll always be worth £2. So that's what you need to be saving. Don't save the rubbish that you don't need to save. Save the ones that are worth saving. Now this is the one I was telling you about earlier. This is the Charles Darwin, 2009 it is the date. 3,903,000 of them. And this one I price again about £7. Is its top price. From there you go down, but you know, I certainly would not value this any more than that. That's about its ceiling really, even for worldwide customers, £7. Depending of course, and then if you've got right spanking condition and all that, as I said earlier, that's when the values go up a little bit more. But in reasonable condition, what I call VGC, very good condition, I'm looking at £7. Now, the Charles Darwin falls into exactly what I was saying before about one of those coins that I just would not let go. I keep it. No matter how many I've got, I just keep it. And then, if I need to thin out, if I need to get hold of a few £100, for example, if I was needing to pay for a takeaway and suddenly I've got no change in the house, I would dive into a box like this that I've got shed loads of. But at the same time as using it like that, I would still keep saving them. And just keep saving them for as long as you can, because they will go up in value. And as I often say, when it comes to money, it will never, ever be worth less. And here we go now into another one that fits the same category. This is the double helix. Sorry about the sunlight if it's a bother. The double helix, or known as the DNA, that's 2003. And we've got a mintage of 4,299,000. It is another coin that most people sensibly would go, that's not worth more than face value, throw that back to the bank. But remember, I think a little bit outside of what normal people consider sensible. And I remember that there's 5 billion people worldwide that can't walk into a bank and get one. So I value that one at £6. And that's only because it's under 5 million mintage. So it gets a value of £6, simple as that. Go over 5 million mintage, it drops. Now this is the last one I'm going to show you, I think. Oops. See if we can't get in there a bit better. So this is the Marconi Wireless 2001. 4,558,000. 4,558,000. Huge amount. But it is just under 5 million. So it gets a price of sort of £6 tops. Now there is actually one more that falls into the bracket, and that's the 1999 Rugby World Cup, 4,933,000. So again, it's just under the 5 million. So again, it falls into sort of £6 mark, you know, and that's it. And it only falls into that because of that reason. Again, you go and get a bag of £500 worth of £2 coins, you are almost guaranteed to find one. So they're not rare or anything like that, but because it's a commemorative, because it's less than 5 million, it can command £6 tops. That includes postage for the UK, although you get people abroad to pay postage, and £6 gives you a bit of room to manoeuvre for someone to make you an offer of a £5, or if you wanted to sell it for £4, you sell it for £4. It's whatever it's worth to you. But to a business, retail, that's a £6 coin. Now that is about it, because you then go into the realms of, you know, you've got the 2004 Trevidic, which had 5,004,000 500 coins. So now you've gone just over the 5 million mark. And just over the 5 million mark, well, you know, I'm not that bothered. So I will keep them, but it doesn't bother me to throw them away and use them and whatever, because you can always go and find them again. And the more and more £2 coins they put onto the market, well, of course, that rule of thumb might change in future. I might sort of go, well, you know, I might change my figure to 6 million or whatever, or change my other figure to 4 million or whatever, you know. But you work your own rule of thumb. What I always say to people is, the advice I give you, I was trying to stop the wind from taking it. The advice I give you is just advice based on 7 years experience selling the exact same coins that I'm talking to you about. That is my advice, if there's any advice. It is what we've done, what I do, what we've done 7 years, etc., and the prices that we get from, and why, and so on. What you do with that information is entirely up to you. And, you know, I always say to people, do your own maths, work it out for yourself. You know, if you're not a business and you're a hobbyist and you're making a few extra quid to pay for the goldfish or whatever, then you ain't going to sell a 25 quid coin for 25 quid. You'll probably be happy selling it for 15 quid, and good luck to you. You know, that's how people have to work out for themselves. It's not just about an item is worth as much as someone will pay for it. It's also about how much someone is prepared to sell it for. You know, so the two come into it. Perfect example, good time to jump on this one as well in this one, right? Gunpowder plot doesn't come into that list. Gunpowder plot 5,140,000. So again, you know, so any other coin now, it is not worth me mentioning, right? Any other coin not worth me mentioning, because, and I'm going, this guide is up to 2015, so or 2015, 16. So I haven't factored in, for example, your Shakespeare's and Great Fire of London and that kind of stuff yet. And, you know, these coins are a bit too early for all of them to be putting, you know, the values necessarily on them. Mine go up to 2015, where you got your Belfast and your Britannia. For the moment, that's what this video goes up to, that's what this list goes up to, and that's what I'm working on. So getting back to the gunpowder. Right, the gunpowder plot, it's a basic coin, so it comes into the sort of fiver mark, right? Even though it's a common coin and it's not worth keeping. It ain't worth keeping, but at the same time, is it worth throwing away? It ain't worth throwing away if you can afford to save for 2 quid, so stick it in a jar, you know. However, remember, and all the rest of it. You've got the R and the leg of the R, right? Boom, the diagonal leg of the R. And the leg of the R is either missing or appears to be missing, so on. Some people class it as a defect, some people class it as a error, some people class it as, I class it as an error. Some people will class it as a misalignment of some description or whatever. And they're probably all right as well. I'm certainly no authority. The bit I know about is the buying and selling bit. That's the bit I know about. I'm not a technical guy. You know, you've got people out there, like there's a YouTube, a coin tuber called what was his name? I was watching a video of his last night. Begins with C. Christopher Collects. So I was watching one of his videos, and he was talking about the dots on the back of the £2 coins and that kind of thing, and how, you know, the difference between, like, he doesn't really class certain things as errors, but the Royal Mint classify things as errors and all the rest of it. Well, all of that comes into what I'm about to say with a gunpowder plot. All of that, right? From a retailer's perspective. Now, remember, you see, this is the thing. You have people like Bungle Collects out there, and Christopher Collects out there, and Andy's Cupboard, and UK Coin Hunt, and so on and so forth. They'll make their own videos. They all know their stuff, very interesting stuff, right? They all do their videos from a and I don't think I'm being disrespectful in saying this, they all do the videos from a hobbyist point of view, right? Hobbyist end of the spectrum. That's not me classifying them. I don't mean any disrespect to that. So sort of they're down that sort of end of the spectrum of hobbyists, or up spectrum, because saying down derogatorism. No, so put them the other way. So they're up, I'm down. Doesn't matter which way around you put it, but they're on one end of the spectrum, right? Because they're hobbyists area. They do it, they like what they do, they enjoy it, so on and so forth. Maybe some of them sell, yeah, I imagine. I do it as a complete and utter retailer. I don't do it, everything I've learned, I haven't learned from a collector's point of view, because I didn't collect coins. I've never collected coins. I only started collecting coins a few months ago. I know that's ridiculous, but I only started collecting coins a few months ago. For 6 years, I've run this business, don't collect coins. Quite simply because I just always took the view that everything I've got for sale, that's my collection. If I own it, it's up for sale. I never kept anything off sale. Everything was up for sale. If I owned it, it's up for sale. That's my collection. I've only now started actually putting, you know, a proper collection together of all the coins, things like that, you know, for my own sort of personal thingy. So, none of what I learned, none of what I did was from the same spectrum as these guys. When you look at the information that some of these guys give you, the technical side of some of the information these guys give you, oh my goodness, I can sit there sometimes, I'm spellbound. It's like, whoa, there's so much to learn about coins. I've learned an awful lot in 7 years. Still learning every single day. Just like last night, watching one of these chaps' videos, I was, you know, learning. Pardon me. So, anyway, getting back to it. Digress. So the point is, putting all this together, misalignments like that Christopher says, and, you know, various things that Andy picks up on, or Bungle, or the other guy, UK Coin Hunt, and anybody else I haven't mentioned that I haven't seen or don't know. They sort of look at it and see it in a different way to me. I see things in a different way to them, completely different way to them. Just like the packaging idea for the coins that we've ripped apart, the Peter Rabbits, and we're putting into circulation as a publicity stunt. What I saw in the empty packets was ephemera, and I now saw another collectible market all of its own. And then that went on and on and on, and I see a further collectible market in all the other coins that we're going to release, including the £2 coins that you might be interested in. We're going to release some in circulation. Packets from them will be collectible. Now you've got a complete collectible market surrounding the empty packets of the coins that went into circulation. See, I see things that some other people don't see. So I'm not saying they're wrong, because I am saying they're right. In it, you know, I don't think anybody's wrong in what they're saying. I just think what we do is we look at it a little bit different. Now I look at it from a retailer's point of view, and as a retailer, I see it a little bit differently. So, per member, and all that. I started off, I sell that for a tenner. And a lot of people are going, no, it's not worth it, it's not worth a tenner. Yes, it is. It's worth a tenner. It's worth a tenner to me. That's where it's worth a tenner. It's worth a tenner to me to take the extra time to look at the edge around every single gunpowder plot coin that we find. Because the prices that people charge for coins, it doesn't actually have to do with the rarity. There's all sorts of things that factor into it. And for me, what factors into it is I'm paying people to sit there and sort the coins out. Now I can sort out a £500 bag of £2 coins in 15 minutes flat. Boom, done. All the commemoratives sorted out really quickly. To start sitting there and looking for errors and looking at the coin and examining the coin, that now takes up time. Somebody's got to pay for that, and that's you, the end buyer. You pay for that. You pay for somebody to sit there and take their time to do that. Now, if somebody else out there who's doing a YouTube channel or a hobby or they're selling it because they're just supplementing their income at home and whatever, and they come across a per member or whatever, and they choose, again, going back to what I said earlier, they want to choose to sell it for £5, but that's entirely up to them. But for me, I value it at a tenner. It is a tenner all day long. It is a tenner all day long to people worldwide. It is different. It is not the fact that it's rare, it's different, and it is not as common. So, it's not rare, doesn't even come into the realms of being rare, but it's not that common. So it starts to become within the realms of a more expensive coin. Another coin that you would charge 10 or 12 quid for, that has a less mintage or something like that, comes into that realms, because there's probably that many of those with that error. Done. Excuse me. And then I looked at that. Now, again, don't just take my word for it. Look for yourself. Pick up a few Guy Fawkes coins and look around the edge, right? Because there's something else that some people miss. And it's not just remember, per member. It's not just that. It could be remember per member. It could be per member remember. In actual fact, there's all variations of it. And here's the thing. Some people just want one of every coin. I just want a Guy Fawkes in my collection, somebody will say. Another person will go, oh, and there's a different Guy Fawkes. It's got a little different, oh, I'll get one of them. I want one of them. If they made 2, I want 2. Oh, they did 3, because they now did a per member remember and a remember P member. Okay, I want one of those and one of those. Oh, and now I want one of each one upside down, because I also collect the upside down coins. So there are people that do that and collect that. There are people that don't agree with that. It's like, well, that's all right. That's free world, country, that kind of thing. They've got their own opinions. But there are people that have their own way of collecting. Some people only collect errors. Some people only collect rotational errors. Come to that in another day. Some people only collect this, collect that, upside down, right way up, and so on. So it does come down to, it is about a bit about what it's rare, but it's also about the time it takes to find something and how much, as a person doing that job, you're prepared to sell it for. Now, you might be a person, for example, that goes, I'm happy to sell Guy Fawkes per members, I'm happy to sell them for £3.50. Cool. Then you go through thousands of £2 coins, and you sell them for £3.50, all the ones you find. I think what would happen is that person at some point would realise the amount of time they're taking to work out those, it's not worth the £3.50. Not worth it, not worth your time. It's not worth your time doing it from a commercial point of view. And everything I talk about is from a commercial point of view. That's where all my values come from. So if you've got per member, remember, remember, whatever way round it is, whatever one of it is missing a little bit of, yeah, it's worth a tenner. It is worth a tenner, and it will sell for a tenner. Put it aside. Use it as one of those coins. I view that as one of those coins like a coin that's under 2 million mintage. I'll sell the shirt off my back before I put one of those back to the bank for £2. It's worth a tenner all day long, and I sell them for a tenner. And if they wasn't worth a tenner, I wouldn't sell them for a tenner. So that means you can sell them all day long for £6, £7, £8. I certainly wouldn't throw them back to the bank. Okay, so I think I covered most of everything. I haven't covered the later edition coins because there isn't really anything that marvellous. I will tell you this though, the coins, I don't necessarily, regardless of what they say about the mintage, and I don't always believe the mintages, to be honest. One of my other faux pas that I get in with the Royal Mint, I don't believe their mintages sometimes. So even though it's not the highest mintage of the 3, the Shakespeare coin with the crown and the dagger, I do save them, but again I put it into the bracket of the area of I will let something go. They're not that important. They're up in the sort of £6-7 mark, but they're not that. The skull one, the tragedy, the skull, and the skull and rose, and then you've got the jester's hat. Now those two, no matter how many I found, I wouldn't let go. Wouldn't let any of them go, and they're probably up in the £8 mark, something like that. And I wouldn't let any of them go. There are about the same in circulation. There's not that much difference to the crown and dagger, but for some reason the crown and dagger is easy to find. Whether that's just because it's the southwest, I don't know, but it's very difficult to find the jester hat, and it's very difficult to find the skull. So, but it's quite easy to find the crown and dagger down here. Now, someone else in a different part of the country might say different, and might be different for them. Do you know what I mean? And again, that's where sometimes prices come into it. If it's difficult for me to find something, then the price goes up, even though it might be easy for someone in Manchester to find it. What can you do? So I think I've covered everything. What else is there to cover? There's non-released £2 coins left, right and centre. The Mint have, done not looked after coin collectors very well with that. And so there's loads of £2 coins not getting released. We are going to be releasing a lot of those coins into circulation as publicity stunts to try and keep people interested in searching for coins. And we've got a vested interest in that because our name is the Great British Coin Hunt. We've got a vested interest in the country as a whole going on a Great British Coin Hunt. So we want to keep that alive. The Mint obviously can't be bothered, but we want to keep that alive. Our business depends on it. So we're going to be doing this as publicity stunts all over the country. We've already got volunteers putting out the Peter Rabbit 2019 Beatrix Potter, and looking for more people to get involved with this kind of thing, and also riding on the publicity of it and advertisers to get in touch as well. You could end up becoming a household name just through releasing coins into circulation. Okay, I think we've covered everything. This is quite a long video, but it has told you the retail prices of all the coins worth knowing about. The other ones, the old £2 coins, I'll do them another day. And like I say, the new £2 coins, well, there's nothing spanking, apart from the fact that the Great Fire of London is also one that the mintage figure is over 5 million. I don't believe it, and again, I keep every single one I can, and I put it into that bracket of less than 2 million. And if it has got a less than 2 million mintage figure, which I suspect it has, a real mintage figure of less than 2 million, which I suspect it has, then it's going to be sort of in the realms of about 12 quid, somewhere in the region of about that. Let's have a look. 2 million. Magna Carta, 1.5 million. Underground sign, 8-9 quid. So you know, it's going to be sort of around that value. The non-release coins, they'll go up to anything, 10 years, 15 years, 100 quid, that kind of money. So it's worth investing in those. Okay, thanks very much. I hope this has been a worthwhile update. Ian, www.thegreatbritishcoinhunt.com, and I always say, use any of our information that you want to use. By all means, just credit us for it, and that'll be great. Many thanks. Bye for now.